Thank you for joining back on again. All right, man, let's just jump back in this conversation again. Basically, we talked about, lack of creativity, lack of identity with Scott Turner. The offense, man, just all together has been inept, right? So I was looking at some stats. Basically, over the last 7 games, right? Check this out. It's gonna be kind of eye opening, right? Our offense scored 8 points, 10 points, 17, 12, 23, 17 for average of 17.7 points per game. So to kind of summarize that simply, over the last 7 games, we only broke 20 points one time. Wale, what do you think what's the cause behind that? Do you think it is all Scott Turner, or do you think is it because of Heineke's in now, or what's going on? What do you think?
So a little bit of both. I mean, I definitely think it's Scott Turner. I think
Mhm,
I've had an issue with him for 3 years. I mean, this is two going to three, right?
mhm,
I've had issues with him. I just feel like, as a coach, at any level you coach, you know what I mean. Like to me,
mhm,
you coach to what your talent is. So
mhm,
if you have a quarterback who can't do certain things, you don't ask him to do things he can't do. You know what I mean?
mhm,
Or he can't do well, or you know there's a chance for him to make a mistake. I feel like
mhm,
he puts his quarterbacks in a situation where they make mistakes because he's trying to be this offensive guru. Like, for instance, prime example, you don't see Kyle Shanahan say, "Hey, I want to show that I can throw the ball around with Jimmy G." He doesn't do that.
mhm,
He plays
mhm,
Jimmy G's strength, boot action, run the football.
mhm,
We seen a playoff game with Jimmy G threw the ball 8 times in a
mm,
playoff game and won.
mhm,
So I'm
mhm,
just saying, like when you're looking at a guy like Scott Turner, it's more fixated on trying to be flashy, show you that I can do this. It's like you're proving yourself to try to get another job or the next job or trying to be a head coach or whatever it may be. I don't know. I don't know one's purpose or whatever, but instead of just coaching to your talent, you're not doing that. Now, in terms of quarterback play, you're limited. It is what it is. You're just limited, and you can blame the offensive line. You can blame the quarterbacks that this team has had. But you are limited to what you want to do because we've said this going into the season. This team has weapons in the skill position. Like
mhm,
you've put Antonio Gibson on the bench. I mean, he's now the backup, but he was 1,000-yard rusher the year before.
mhm,
You Jahan Dotson is a talented young wide receiver. You have Terry McLaurin. You see what what Curtis Samuel could do. De'Ami Brown is a talented dude. You saw the two big plays against the Tennessee Titans. So this team has offensive weapons.
mhm.
So they should still score points. But I think you're pigeonholed with quarterback play and your offensive coordinator calling plays, and that's to me the big issue for this football team.
Yeah, I agree. I think Scott Turner's kind of overthinking himself. I think Taylor Heineke is limited with what he could do. I want to kind of go into Antonio Gibson a little bit, Adam, and I know you have some feelings about Sam Howell as well. Let's go with Antonio Gibson first. Then we'll kind of go that direction. So, Antonio Gibson, do you think he's being underutilized? Because I think he is a pretty explosive player. Adam, what do you think?
I think just like McLaurin, he's the kind of guy, not at his level, of course, but he's the kind of guy. What I mentioned before we got cut off is, ideally having more two back set tight end situation. It's like to put 2-3 tight ends. I don't think we're really trusting that. I like him on weapon to flex out, but I think with Gibson having two backs that allows you to have because he is halfway decent blocker. Robinson is actually better than some people think. As you have
Mm-hmm.
the option where you can run him or you can just get him out in space running routes, not just check downs. It doesn't do. And just like what I say with Taylor Heineke, like move him around, get him moving. I listen to RG3's comments. Not that I take a ton of stock in what he says, but as far as play calling in football, like what Kyle Shanahan did, he played to the strengths, and if he simply did that zone read concepts with Taylor Heineke, if it gets hit and doesn't work, okay, but we see it in the first game with Carson Wentz. We saw them using it here and there. So I think what he did perfectly, he's trying to prove something, and he's trying to put people into positions that they're not. This offensive line is not built right now with the injuries that they have for him to drop back. And Taylor Heineke, again, same situation. He's going to continue to get balls knocked down at the line to do something that this line can't help him do. And second, you're not playing to his strengths. And I think that I don't understand the infatuation with Rivera and him. I don't know if it's just nostalgia, other, just it goes back to the Chargers. But I don't think that he's been given. He's not shown that he's able to adjust or use or play to his player strengths. He's the blueprint to me. He's a guy that no matter who he has, it's like you see whatever running back, like what running back comes out of nowhere. The way he uses Deebo Samuel, we should be using McLaurin and Gibson in their hands as much as possible. It's great to you spread the ball around and have 6-7 targets. If you got two guys like that, you get the ball in their hands as much as possible.
Can I ask this one thing? Because I like this about this one, because this Taylor Heineke thing really annoys me. I'm only gonna lie, it just does annoy me. Like Taylor Heineke as a whole annoys me because I just can't even. To me, he's not even. He shouldn't even be a starting quarterback. I know he's a backup, but there's levels to this. Like I've heard fans say
Definitely
he's
levels.
like one of the best, but he's like one of the best backups in football. That's a lie. That is such a lie.
Well, they said the same thing about Colt McCoy, man. Every time we have a Washington backup, always the best in the NFL. Yeah,
he's so limited. Like when we literally have to dissect. This is one thing that's so funny to me. Like when you ask to describe Taylor Heineke, right? Like what is he good at? Like he has heart. He has moxie.
The players love playing with him.
That's
what I hate more than anything else. There's nothing tangible behind that at all.
Here you go, George. He knows the playbook. You ain't say nothing about him being accurate. You ain't say nothing about having an arm. You ain't say nothing about him having precision or anticipation as a quarterback. It is all about he has moxie. The players love him. He knows the playbook. Okay, he can run. I'll give you that. He can run.
Let me jump on this real quick, right? So they keep on saying that Taylor Heineke knows the playbook inside and out. Why aren't we seeing that effectively on the field, right? That one interception where he overthrew Logan Thomas, he had two wide open wide receivers on the side. We're not seeing it right there.
It kills me.
It does kill me. And on top of that, like, I mean, I do I think Taylor Heineke does bring nostalgia. I think he's gonna, like, I was talking in a group chat. I think he kind of brings that like Mike Sellers, Lorenzo Alexander feel. He's like a true commander, true Redskin, right?
Yeah.
But I just don't think he's at like that elite level, and we shouldn't be building around him. I think the people that want to build around him, I don't think they truly know football. I'm not trying to be mean, but I think it's just more entertainment for them. But they're not watching the. They're not watching the physical skill set. So
I'll be mean. They don't know football because if you're going to entertain that, like you really aren't trying to. You're really not trying to understand football. Period. Like at the end of the day, like this is what for me when we talk about Sam Howell, because probably going to talk about Sam Howell.
Yeah.
Like Sam Howell is a rookie. Taylor Heineke makes rookie mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
That is the problem. Like he is darn near 30 years old, about to be 30. He makes rookie mistakes. Mm-hmm. Like if you're like. Dude, I love Chad Pennington. Chad Pennington had no arm whatsoever. But you know what Chad Pennington was? He knew the playbook and he was accurate. He anticipated. He knew, all right, what my limitations are with my arm. If I anticipate and I'm accurate, I can have a nice NFL career. That's a great
comp actually, because Chad Pennington was kind of renowned for having a weaker arm. I like that a lot. It's a good comp.
Yeah. So when you look at Taylor Heineke, he doesn't have any of those attributes. Like he does. He's tough. He is tough. I'll give you that. He's not accurate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and he doesn't anticipate passes. Like if you're not going to have an arm, at least anticipate. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Throw it to a spot. Like, but when he throws to a spot, you don't know where it's going.
Yeah.
So that's my problem. Like, if you don't have an arm, at least be accurate. So my thing about this whole Taylor Heineke, I love him. He's this, that, and the other. Like, all right, the reason why I had an issue with like even the way they use Carson, and this is like, and I'm not saying Carson took. The reason I had an issue with Carson is like, dude, you knew Carson holds the ball too long. Run the football, run off of that, play action, and then play off of that. And I guarantee you the product will be better. Mm-hmm. Like, dude, I guarantee you the product will be better. You do what you were doing with Taylor Heineke because you were so scared that Taylor Heineke was going to make mistakes. You would run the football a little bit more. If you do the same thing with Carson Wentz, you would have success against certain teams.
My only criticism of Carson Wentz is that he's completely immobile right now, man.
I think
he has a great arm. I think he has a physical talent. Like, I think that, the tail of the tape for the entire season is we didn't protect Carson Wentz. Like we had an immobile quarterback. We kind of thought that he had the physical tools to still scramble. He doesn't have that. And once he fractured his back, and once he had he's like a plantar issue or like a foot pedal issue where he can't raise his foot 100%. He can't scramble that much anymore. Yes. So basically, he's a sitting duck back there. So without a strong offensive line, he isn't that productive. I do think he's the most physical. I mean, I think he's a lot more physically talented than than Taylor Heineke, but he just isn't a good fit for our offense right now. So we kind of we're gonna have to wrap it up at 7:30 because my bad. But like, let's kind of touch on Sam Howell real quick. So I know Adam has some things to say about that. Go ahead, Adam. What do you got to say? Is it time to go for him?
So I just put an article out. I said the Philly game. No, I said unless Taylor Heineke not just beat Philly, he should show that he deserves to say, because these are the comments I got him when I put out the Texans. That's the ultimate, the season's not over. There's not garbage time, but I heard right to play. They're still chasing a playoff spot. I wouldn't experiment. Sorry, the season over. For what what I say to that is, if you're going to take lumps, you're going to make mistakes. Let's do it with the rookie, because very hard time believing that he comes in and makes more mistakes than Taylor Heineke, because you're talking exceptions over the last 2-3 weeks. He should have 7 or 8. So the difference about him is, I love the former baseball players, number one, and if they can translate to that to the field,
good arm angles and all that.
2020, De'Ami Brown, he had the run game, he had weapons half the time, and that's what he can do. But when they asked him to throw the underneath pass, that's what I loved about it. He has the best touch pass in the entire draft class. It's how he made it to the 5th round, if all the evaluators are right. But I'm still, I guess, on the wagon to think you get him in, guy that can improvise just like Heineke. You're talking about, he had no offense, Carolina, 800-something yards rushing, 11 touchdowns. The 2 years combined, he had under 120. Dual threat. He became what they needed. Like, this is like Bill Belichick kind of guy we're talking. 3 out of the last 4 guys, small schoolers, guys that I've interviewed, they've ended up with New England, and I there. So what you have is, if you can get him ready for the Texans, we're going to beat Philly. I don't see how that they're, unless Philly really shoots themselves out. I think what you're going to get is he's going to get an interception into a game. But I think you saw just a clip in the legs. If you bring back Dotson and then you see the emergence of what Armani Rogers can do, I think sneaky and replace Thomas, because I just don't think
so. I don't think Thomas is going to team next year. I agree.
He is implement like Bates, even Turner. Turner's a guy I'm already seeing he's having issues, staying healthy. But Armani, all those weapons that you have, you're wasting it right now, and that's where I'm at. I think you're to a playoff spot. How far the back they are already. 7 or 8 wins is their ceiling, with not enough to do it. So if you're gonna get 7-8 wins, why not do it with Sam Howell? Because I think you got to get a somewhat idea that if you got to go, if you're gonna trade up, what you're gonna do, which I don't see. I don't want to see Wentz back on the field, because I don't want to see that 2nd round pick loss. So I think,
of course,
that as a fan, that as a regime, as coaches, Ron Rivera running it, not just the head coach, you have to think ahead for that. Back to Wentz, and if you're going to go anywhere, stay with Taylor Heineke the rest of the year, deal with it. But I think you got to, right now, the Texans game would be the ideal spot for him.
Yeah, it's crazy too. Actually, I was listening to the Bram Weinstein and John Keim the Tuesday therapy session. I don't know if you guys ever listened to that one, but John Keim was adamant. He's like, there's absolutely no chance that Sam Howell is actually going to take the field anytime soon, which I found was pretty interesting. So I do kind of like your thoughts. I do like your viewpoints, Adam. I do think it is kind of you do want to get Sam Howell out there.
Go with the herd, basically. Like, I've evaluated him since 2019. Thoughts out there. I to put my scouting report in my last article, so it's not, so it shows I'm not just seem to think that it's about latching onto the backups. That's not the situation with Hal.
I know that.
Hal is a guy, now he's the best guy that they have in the room. That's just my opinion.
Gotcha. So, guys, we're gonna have to kind of wind it down pretty soon. I'm prepared for a full show, so I don't know, maybe later on this week, if we can carve out some time, we can kind of run it back if you guys are interested in that.
I'm down for it.
That's cool. But Wally, any closing thoughts before we bring it on home?
Yeah, all I want to say is, like, I want to see Sam Howell play. I'm all about playing against hard competition. I think we baby people too much. The Eagles are one of the better teams. I think I want to test you against some of the best. So I feel like if Taylor Heineke struggles tremendously, like he did against the Vikings, or like even the Packers' first quarter, because to me it could be a nasty game. I want to see you play. I want you to yank Taylor Heineke and put in Sam Howell, and let's see what he could do. I don't trust anything. Like, people could say that Sam Howell isn't ready. I want to hear. But I want to see it for myself. Like, when this regime says it, right. I don't believe anything. I don't believe a lot of what this regime says. I really don't. Like, I don't. You know what I mean? So I want to see it for myself. And if I'm wrong, I'm cool with saying I'm wrong. For what I saw in preseason and what I see,
you look good in the preseason.
You look good in preseason. And what I saw, and to me, you have that thought process. Russell Wilson never starts for the Seattle Seahawks. It's Matt Flynn. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So like that's what I'm saying.
You
Like
gotta roll the
have
dice,
that
let it
thought
go.
process. Yeah, you're gonna roll with that thought process. Then some of these dudes would have never made it to the NFL and been the stars that you know. So I want to see him play and see what he could do because like I said earlier, Taylor Heineke makes rookie mistakes. So if you're worried about mistakes, if you're worried
Mhm.
about taking sacks, not moving the football, are they moving the football now?
Nah.
So
Honestly
what are we worried
honestly,
about?
they're hiding Taylor Heineke. If you actually
Yes,
truly watch every single
they're
play,
hiding him.
they're
Yes,
running the ball to hide from him throwing is what they're doing.
yes,
So that's kind of what we're seeing.
yeah.
But guys, I gotta be respectful of everyone's time. I got some other people jumping on here too. Let's run it back. We'll talk offline. For those of you that were watching the show, sorry for the little interruption halfway through. We'll run it back later on this week. Everyone else, have a great night. Peace out.